Time for Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Bradley Meyer of the Okoboji Wellness Clinic. We got a lot of breaking news going on, so we had to make sure we got our ducks in a row this morning. Good morning, Dr. Meyer.
Good morning, Dave.
Beautiful morning.
Sometimes I like a little rainy morning.
Yeah, me too.
I might prefer being at home, Carrie's at home, and being on the couch and a little blanket would be good. But, second best is here at the clinic with an amazing team.
Yeah, so. Healing people. All right, we're going to talk about, I've told you this story a time or two. I pretty much tell everybody this. Anytime one goes to the medical community for an uncomfortable, let's just say uncomfortable procedure, and whoever performs that procedure causes you a little pain, and they go, "Oh, I'm sorry." They all say that, but they're not really sorry. It's just part of their job, right? But what we're gonna talk about today is when you're in the medical field and something hits close to home, it does make you think just a little differently.
It changes the perspective, and it's a good level set reminder that the things that when we take these journeys to help our bodies get on the healing path, all the landmines that are out there, all these exposures to things that try to get our bodies sideways. It's quite a thing to navigate when you really step back and think about it. I mean, it's sometimes you just like you said, you say, "Oh, I'm sorry." Well, you say, "Well, just avoid gluten." Mm-hmm. What does that really mean? Because it's not just a little simple thing, and it can be a big thing to help. And we're here to help navigate the waters, but. Yeah, I mean, so my son Grant had celiac. He was diagnosed when he was 5, which is inflammation of the small intestine. And, I'm convinced, so he can't have gluten. Otherwise, he gets really inflamed, abdominal pain, headaches, all kinds of things. I'm convinced that there was something that happened to him around birth that is pretty traditional to do to help prevent folks from getting diseases. Again, these are standard as soon as babies are born. I'm pretty convinced that was a contributing factor for him. And so we see more and more folks that are developing these allergies, autoimmune, all these conditions, especially in our younger kids. So, number 2 comes along, my second son, Henry, and he hasn't really put on a lot of he struggled putting on height and weight, and he's always had these rashes. And so we have suspected, but we actually ran some blood work and got the news last week that he had a gluten sensitivity and a dairy sensitivity, as well as rice.
Wow.
Which is a gluten mimic for some folks. And so that was world come crashing down for Henry, who's 11, and he is going into 5th grade, and he thought of all the things in his life that were going to be impacted: birthday parties, going to school, having lunch at school, just standing out, being different from his friends. And so that is what we walked into freshly with. Thank goodness we got Grant, who's going to be able to walk alongside him and say, "This is how you do it," because Grant has done an incredible job with navigating the waters of avoiding the food triggers. But when you really start to look at the complexity of, because gluten is in everything, dairy's in so much, and the simple things I found myself this week, this is full confession, Dave, so I don't do gluten or dairy because last summer, again, I had a horrible autoimmune type reaction. My joints ached. I had horrible fatigue. I was on the verge of thinking I was not going to be doing very well for a while. I've turned around since feeling amazing, but, I found out that I have even not only gluten dairy, but a potato allergy. This is when your digestive tract gets wrecked and you get a leaky hose. Think of your digestive system as a leaky hose, your small intestine, your stomach. Microscopically, you get holes in this, and if it starts as something like gluten, which is gluten's like glue, it's in wheat products, and it kind of holds things together. They started to hybridize wheat, many, many years ago, and so our body can't break it down very well, so it inflames the body. Well, eventually, if it's inflaming the body long enough, then these microscopic holes happen. They're not really holes, but they're just areas where there's not tightness in the junctions. And other things can eventually come down, like rice or potatoes or corn or other things that get through that digestive tract, and then the immune system recognizes that as the enemy as well and attacks it. So then you end up with all this inflammation. Well, full disclosure, again, about how difficult this journey can be sometimes, is here I thought I was doing a great thing with Primal Kitchen ranch dressing. So it's gluten-free, dairy-free. And I a lot of times I'll bring this to restaurants with me. And balsamic's a great gluten-free option, but I brought it with us last weekend with Henry, thinking, okay, here we go. Here's a safe alternative for Henry. And I roll over the label, and I see potato starch on there. So for the last year, when I've been having a salad, thinking I'm doing great, because it's on the label it says gluten-free and it says dairy-free, I also am not supposed to have potatoes. And really the simplest things, we live in this wild ride of a world going 100 miles per hour, as Dr. Schallenberger likes to call it, life in the fast lane that's stressing our adrenal glands all the time. That's where we're at all the time. And just the simple thing of looking at, turning over what you're at the grocery store and looking in the ingredients and saying, does it have 4 or less ingredients in it? That's kind of my goal, is like I want as limited amount of ingredients on there as possible. And hopefully it's non-GMO, non-genetically modified, organic if possible. And so here you go. Just a prime example. We do the best we can. And we once we know better, as I said a few weeks ago, we can do better. That's myself included. To get ourselves feeling our optimal, and so now hopefully for Henry, he's taken this on the challenge, and he knows this is what he needs to do to help his body heal. He's kind of grasped that, but getting to the point, it's of acceptance and then application for whatever it is. It can be a challenge. So that's the full disclosure story from the Meyer family. But do know that because we're all human here as well. Everybody on our team, that we walk through a lot of these same things that our guests walk through. And so from our own personal experiences, hopefully we're going to be able to better serve our guests. But that is one big thing that we always talk about, trying to find what's inflaming the body. Some exciting stuff, and we talk about solutions because we want results. We want to get to feel better. So my hope, because I had some gentleman in this week, he's like, oh, this is so depressing. I reviewed his gluten labs again, and I'm like, you just can't have it. Otherwise you're going to get inflamed. And he's like, that's just so depressing. And my hope one day is that we're able to heal that gut well enough that folks can start to eat things again that they used to have allergies to. And the cool story with my son, Grant, he's done so well, the one with the celiac, at healing his gut, because the stomach lining and the small intestine cycles every 3 to 5 days. So if you're not hitting it, inflaming it all the time, it has an incredible capacity to kind of work on healing itself. Well, he had allergies that popped up for him in the past that when my son Grant, his recent allergy testing came back negative. So again, he wasn't able to used to have dairy, and now he can. And so that's like super exciting for folks that say, hey, do I have to modify this forever? yes, it's best to eat as clean as possible, the rest of your life. We don't want foods that have just been, we call it frankenfood, that have been highly processed and just the body's got to work so hard to digest. But there are things. And the other interesting thing, Dave, that as we walk into the fall here and you get the environmental allergies, the farmers get out in the field and kick up some of that dust, is the role of environmental on food. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to be working with Allergy and Associates out of La Crosse, and they've kind of been ahead of the curve for many, many years in allergies, in allergy testing and treatment. They do something called sublingual drops instead of the shots you typically think of. So that's something we'll be walking into this fall and have as an option for folks is allergy testing and these sublingual drops where you give yourself a little exposure to that allergen and slowly increase the dose so that folks are able to develop a tolerance over time to some of these things and not have some symptoms that we typically can see with the allergies. So, and in some cases, they were sharing with my wife that food allergies can be positively impacted or improved when you address the environmental allergens. So I didn't know that. That's exciting news. And then when you throw in some of the other stuff, like doing this autologous ozone right underneath the skin is huge for allergies. We'll be getting that going in a big way this fall. And finally, we're going to have one other little exciting thing that's really, really good for the immune system. And allergies is a PRP or true dose. So we'll be launching that this fall as well, which is another exciting thing, and I'll talk more about that going forward. But so lots of exciting solution-based things to do for allergies. Of course, hyperbarics are great. That and red light, those all reduce inflammation. But I think a lot of times, folks come in, and I'll just share this one last bit about how impactful the gluten and food allergies can be on whole body health, because a lot of times folks just think that I have got bloating. That's, if I don't have bloating, I don't have diarrhea, I don't have loose stools, then I must not have a gluten intolerance or a food intolerance. But not the case. And so I got the permission last week of Janelle out of Esterville, and she and her daughter both have really struggled with inflammation and migraines, and bloating, abdominal discomfort, and they've kind of walked into a journey similar to us with Henry. And I was so proud of her daughter and both of them, because again, another example, it's not always bloating, but brain fog, fatigue, it can be migraines. And when you take care of that digestion and those inflammatory factors, when she circled back with me last week, shared that she was doing much better, her daughter doing fantastic, and her daughter just got to the point where she was just absolutely just a rock star with managing her food intake, because the year prior, pretty rough, a lot of the abdominal pain and just debilitating headaches and anxiety. Even anxiety can be provoked by gluten. Yeah. And so, anyway, great story with them, to see them walk through this as well, and see improvement with those lifestyle dietary changes. So, one final thing. The big one is Molly Avery. Mm-hmm. She is our functional nutritionist. She is a rock here. She is fantastic. She is so smart, and our guests love to sit down with her and learn with her, and take that walk. And we do the same thing for Henry. We had him sit down with Molly and talk about things, and because she has her own personal experience with herself, her daughter, when it comes to food allergies, and so take advantage of the fact that I think we've got the best around when it comes to Molly Avery. So lots of ways that we can help from an allergy perspective now and going forward as we add some things here in the clinic. It's a privilege to sometimes. Well, I won't say to go through it yourself. Is Sally Sutton was a mentor of mine that wrote me a letter of recommendation to get into medical school years ago. In my first year in medical school, when I was working in the anatomy lab, I got so sick, and I was hospitalized. I missed about a month of medical school, and another good example. I think looking back, Dave, I've learned some stuff about formaldehyde in the anatomy lab. I think that's what happened. I think I got really sick from chemical toxin in the anatomy lab. But anyway, I always had bags of fluid hooked up to me, and I thought, wow. Everybody was like, boy, his blood pressure's all over the place. Is he going to make it? And Sally, who was a pioneer at Des Moines University and just a great lady and physician, and she came in and she's like, well, this is good for you, Bradley. Now you get to feel like it's what it feels like to be with the shoe on the other foot. So.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Now, listen, if folks want to come see you, visit about maybe allergies, whether they know what the allergy is or don't know. Maybe it's food. Maybe it's environmental. Maybe they're just not feeling well, period, and they want to feel good. How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, we can do all that allergy testing. So soon the environmental, we can do all that food allergy testing now. So give us a call at 712-339-6024, and certainly can schedule an appointment with talking to one of the amazing front team. And then if you want to do a discovery call that's complimentary with me, 15 minutes where we discuss a little bit about what's going on in your life and, for a good fit for moving forward on the wellness walk and trying to help bring that quality that you're desiring for your life. And then we can get you scheduled for a visit from there. We're at 3305 Berquist Avenue in Spirit Lake, just off of Highway 71. So conveniently located and here to help you find some answers and get you feeling better.
Awesome. Dr. Meyer, always a pleasure. Have a great day, and we'll chat again soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Bradley Meyer, with us this morning from Okoboji Wellness Clinic, and you can check them out online, okobojiwellnessclinic.com.